On your left, I have a Taurus PT709, little slim, and 9mm. And on your right, a Kahr CW9. Now these two are extremely similar in size. They're direct competitors to each other. And at the time of this recording, I couldn't find a YouTube comparison of the two. They're really, really, really similar guns. I have both of them, at least for now. Taurus PT709 Slim versus the Kahr CW9, this time on Gun Physics. Both of them are 9mm. Both of them have 7-round magazines. Both have really good reputations for reliability. I added a little pinky rest to this one because there is a little bit of a difference between the two in that my grip leaves me with the finger hanging off, and then with that little extra pinky rest I can hang on to it, because this is a little bit undercut. The Taurus PT709, it's a big trigger guard, and that big trigger guard, smaller on this one, and I can actually get 3 fingers on without the magazine. Let's check out those dimensions. Now, without the thumb rest that I added, the PT709 is a little bit shorter, both of them 7 rounds, and you can tell clearly here that you can get a higher grip with that Kahr in the front. Even without the magazine, I can get 3 fingers on it. But PT709 without the magazine, this piece of plastic at the bottom of the trigger guard comes down far enough that I can only get 2 on there. And I really did, for a little bit of added control, really did need that additional finger rest. Again, they both have really good reputations for reliability. I've had the PT709 for quite a while. I've run that, I've carried it for a bit. This Kahr CW9 is a new one. The capacity is the same. 7 rounds plus 1, 7 rounds plus 1. Very similar sizes, almost exactly the same width of slide. The PT709 is a little bit thinner in the grip right here. Slides are almost exactly the same width. Barrel on the Kahr is just a little bit longer. And you can see here that the Taurus is a little bit thinner in the grip. And here's a view from the very front end. 709 has a manual safety. You may or may not like that. If you're carrying this appendix, you may want to have a safety. You may be more comfortable with the thumb safety, but it's only single-sided. It's only for right-handers or left-handers who are used to reaching up a finger and doing that manipulation right there. But that one has a thumb safety. This one has no external manual safeties on it. The PT709 has adjustable rear sights. They're plastic with a little bit of metal in them and a plastic front sight. The Kahr CW9 has a metal rear sight, a single dot in the center, and a plastic front sight with 2 little plasticky pins that go in there. Not super easy to replace. They do make aftermarket night sights for this. They make aftermarket rear night sights for this one, but I haven't found a front night sight. Kahr rear sight, single line, not adjustable, drift adjustable. Plastic metal combination sight on the Taurus, adjustable for windage and elevation. And here's the two side by side, again, really similar. And I did find out that both of those front plastic sights are replaceable with night sights. What I did previously for a Diamondback DB9 is I went in there and I filed it out, filed the slot for a Glock front sight and was able to use that. So that's a possibility, but I don't think it's going to stand up tall enough to make it accurate. They both do lock back on an empty magazine. The takedown for the Taurus, very similar to the Glock. Pull it back a little bit. Make sure, of course, that it's clear first. No magazine, nothing in the chamber. And you do pull it back, pull down on the 2 tabs, this side and the other side. Trigger, pull it off. Standard construction, everything's pretty much totally normal, just like most other guns. It does, by the way, have a loaded chamber indicator at the top. That little piece pops up. And you can see the adjustable rear sight, plastic front sight that has a little screw in the bottom. And the car, you pull this back, similar to a 1911. Pull this back till you get those lined up. And push. And pull. The pin comes out. Again, check and make sure that there's nothing in it. Pull the trigger, pull it off. Now the internals are interesting here. And it's nice. Also interesting internally is the fact that the feed ramp is offset. So you can see that is definitely off to one side. Because that is off to one side, it does allow this thing to have a slightly better trigger, because the trigger mechanism is, if you can see in there, but the trigger mechanism is right next to it. And the fact that that is offset to the left allows the trigger mechanism to a little bit more space so the car could make their trigger exactly like they wanted to. Did some interesting things with it. Steel guide rod. The internal side-by-side are a little bit different. You can see the safety over here on the PT709, and here's the car. And you'll notice that these are full plastic slide rails, and slide rail section and slide rail section front and rear. These front slide rails don't exist. That front piece of metal doesn't exist here. These are plastic. Little tiny piece in the back that's a piece of metal on the slide rail, but all this is plastic. And this is really pretty neat because look at all that plastic. And then you look down below, wait a minute, those are tiny little slide rails down there, because the bottom of this little dust cover and the end of the recoil spring, that is what slides in there. It's actually a pretty cool design. So reduces the torque to keep this thing from flipping up. The car, not a captured recoil spring, and the Taurus, a dual captured recoil spring. Once you get the barrel and the recoil spring in place, here's the Taurus. Line it up, safety off, wiggle it a little bit because it does tend to kind of slide off the rails in the back, and then it's all done. You're fully reassembled, totally ready to go. Magazine goes back in, there you go. Car, on the other hand, does require a little bit more work. Goes back into place nicely, slide it back there. Put the pin in when you see the opening. It'll push a spring, the retention spring, out of the way. Push that in. Make sure everything's lined up. Slide it in. And you're good. This one is really actually pretty cool. And this one, it's great. It's fine. You just have to pull back. Some people are annoyed that they have to pull back so far. And there's an extra like little click a lot of times on the way back, halfway back. So this is all take up and then hard stop, click. This one is just, it's all smooth. All the way back, all smooth, all the way to the stop. There is no take up, kind of a stop, and then it's just smooth all the way through. It's a nice trigger. This is the Taurus. There's a little extra click in the middle. This is all take-up. All of that is take-up. Very similar to the Millennium G2 trigger. Goes to there, and then more pressure, releases. It does reset to a double action if you need it for a second strike, but here's a regular reset, pretty short. But if you don't like pulling your finger all the way back, like some people are annoyed at that, this one, once you pull it, dead trigger, no second strike capacity, which for most people, who cares, doesn't matter a single bit. This is the Kahr CW9 trigger. It just, a little bit of take up, and then pretty much a constant pull all the way back. Consistent pull every time. A little bit long, very smooth. consistent trigger weight all the way through. It's 25 yards. Both of them would be equivalent to carry. Both of them have really similar recoil. Both really good guns. So pick which one you like. That Kahr is twice as expensive. But, man, that trigger is nice. That's what I'm going for.
Hey, thanks for watching Gun Physics. Your thumbs up really helps a lot in the ratings. So thanks for that too. And I've got new videos coming out most Tuesdays. Subscribe for more.